Purdue as Mitchell looks for an answer.
Ooh, pure, nothing but net.
Garland to the basket, stole the inbound pass. He lays it in.
Basketball down there.
Very high percentage shot for him from that spot. Merrill for three. Tristan Thompson on the floor. Diaz, three, that's short. Hard rebound, ricochets out to Merrill for three again.
For the We Like Sportz show, tune in and see the latest the crew has to say regarding the latest sports topics nationally and locally. Make sure to check out our website as well, WeLikeSportsPC.com. Subscribe on all platforms, including podcast platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and much more. And be sure to follow us on X at We Like Sportz PC.
Started with Anderson and Ramirez.
He said, let's go, right? Yeah, I'm sure he wants the game to start, but they won't let it. And rightfully so.
And welcome to the We Like Sportz show. I'm Peyton Vince alongside Keith Allen and my man CJ.
What's
Guys,
going on?
It's been a minute. How's it going?
It's going
Fucking hot.
Yeah, you know, a warm-up in Cleveland, Ohio. Ed's down in Columbus. I think he's with running the track team, or at least trying to catch up. You know how Ed is. But regardless, Ed can't be here today. I'm back to my normal role from way back when, about a year and a half ago. Back to being the hostess with the mostest. Or so they said. But I'm in charge of Break Ed News today. I'm in charge of the great debate.
Uh-oh.
And guys, it's going to be a good time. I don't know if anybody's ready for this. But first and foremost, I mean, in the words of the great CJ's favorite, Cody Rhodes, what do you guys want to talk about?
Aren't you the host? This is what Ed usually has to do.
Well, I have topics. I'm just asking you guys first.
Michael Penix going 8, right?
Yeah.
8 to Atlanta. Talk about it. Then he said it after the draft. He's like, oh, you know, we didn't want to reach and get a cornerback. Talking about like didn't take corner at all. Michael Penix at 8. Talking about a pick that will get you fired. Sit for 4 or 5 years. He's gonna be 28. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's 24 years old. What are they doing?
Yeah, did you guys happen to see the graphic, by the way, that the Falcons ended up issuing today of Michael Penix Jr.? There's a bit of a typo.
Penis? They call Michael Penis?
Yep.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Michael Penis Jr. It could be worse. It could be like Ed in Columbus, Micro Penis Jr.
Oh, man.
I did not see 6 quarterbacks going in the top 15 picks. I just, talk about like I talk about reaching.
Yeah, I mean,
it's huge. I mean,
honestly, it was a surprise. I mean, JJ McCarthy was thought to be top 10, top 15. Like that was a shoe-in. I think Jaden Daniels was kind of a bit of a surprise with as early as he did. I think he was more of a day of scenario. Drake May.
Daniels was going to go.
He was like number 2 or 3.
Daniel, for so long it was May and Williams 1, 2.
Yeah.
Like Daniels was the third guy, but like you knew he was going to kind of be top 10, like top 15. I remember looking at like early mocks. Like that's what I did. I got bored today. I looked like way too early mocks from last year. Like Malik Neighbors was like 29. Like you know what I mean. So to see a guy like that kind of shoot up boards as the year went on was was wild.
I definitely would say Penix. I mean, there was talks before they ended up. The Steelers got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. There was talks of Penix becoming maybe a second, third round quarterback for the Steelers.
One of the mocks I saw today had I'm taking Shador.
Really?
Next year?
Steelers, yeah. Like 16 though.
I mean, it wouldn't be bad. I mean, they ended up not electing to pick up Fields' option. I mean, it's tough because it's Colorado. You liked them early.
I gotta imagine they won't pick up Fields' option next year. Or Fields won't be back in Pittsburgh. I don't think it'll work out.
You don't think so?
No.
I think you're just.
I honestly got to think like Russell will be like okay enough for them to talk themselves. Like, you know what I mean? Think about how like the Steelers. I don't want to like shit on the Steelers. Like I don't mean it's like a derogatory way. Like, you know, if they just get competent quarterback play and Russ can go be like Russ wasn't terrible last year.
Yeah, he had a good year last year.
Yeah, he had a solid year. So like you put Russ out there, you know, make some shit. That'll be better than Kenny Pickett was and Mason Rudolph and.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. Anything's better at that point. I mean, I guess with the mock draft talk, who was the biggest surprise outside of Penix getting drafted? I mean, honestly, let's just change up the question. Changed my mind. How do you think that the Browns did with drafting? I mean, next year they finally have a first-round pick for the first time ever. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's a lot of Wilsons roaming around. You have Peyton Wilson, great name. Not like I know one personally at all by any means, but Peyton Wilson, linebacker, great name. You ended up having, I think it was Roman Wilson from Michigan that they ended up getting in the second round. And you also ended up having Russell Wilson. So, I mean, you got a lot of Wilsons. I like that the Steelers ended up drafting as well as they did. They got a wide receiver. Maybe, I think it's a little too early, but maybe they're hoping Roman Wilson is somebody that the Steelers could end up having a good number 2 with George Pickens, but still early. I mean, a Michigan product. A lot of Michigan and Ohio State consistently. And when did Blake Corum go? He was the second round or third round to the Rams.
I think he was the third round.
I think third.
Third
round pick 83 to the Rams. How did you guys think that the Browns did, though, honestly?
I don't know. I mean, you know, a first round pick is always tough to, like, you know. I like Michael Hall. I like getting Zach Zenner. Like, those are the two guys I look at them drafting. You know, I think they got him in the 7th. Like, you know, they address needs. They fill in a little depth. Would I've liked to seen a better receiver? Yeah. But, like, I'm not going to complain about getting Michael Hall and Zach Zenner. Like,
Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, interior line on the offense has been a problem. Our guard play, I'm trying to think of who.
Because he might be guard last year. Zenner might be Joe Patonio's heir apparent
replacement. Who's
or Wyatt Teller? Or Wyatt Teller.
I mean, that money's going to hit in on the books.
Yeah, because they're not going to pay 2 guards.
No, and they're paying Teller, and you know how much longer Patonio was going to be around, and why Teller hasn't had the best. You know, he's not the best passport, but also, you know, those are 2 guys that do get banged up. So now we get some depth on the old line.
Yes. And like they say, you got to win the line of scrimmage, O-line and D-line.
I mean, the Steelers alone, I think this upcoming draft, they ended up drafting a good amount of linemen as well. And, I mean, the way that I ended up seeing on X is that a lot of fans ended up saying they're just going to end up playing smash mouth football possibly with Russell Wilson and just run the ball with how many linemen they ended up drafting. I mean,
that's what I would do.
That's the smart approach. You got 2 linebackers. Why not? Or not linebackers. You got 2 running backs. Why wouldn't you at that point?
I would have liked to have seen them. I know they took a running back late. But, like, if you could have got, like, a Blake Corum, you know what I mean? I would have liked to have seen a Blake Corum. Like a Will Shipley, maybe even. Like, something like a change of pace. Like, I would have really liked to have seen them get a running back. They didn't get a running back. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that.
I mean, you got a guard. You got a defensive end, defensive back. Wide receiver and Roman Wilson. You got a center and Zach Frazier out of West Virginia in the second round.
Talking about the Browns. Talking about the Browns.
Oh, okay. You went back to the hometown team, of course.
Yeah, I thought that's what I'm talking about. You know, just something I would have liked to have seen.
Keith, what were your thoughts on the Browns? Anything to put a bow on?
Well, actually, I don't really expect no major contributions from nobody in this draft class this year, to be honest.
I feel like that's almost every year. Like outside of the quarterbacks, all the other position players aren't as well known. I mean, you got a couple wide receivers, like you had Neighbors, you ended up having Roma Dunes.
Well, and there's some like weird picks. Like you think to like how teams kind of like they have something, and certain teams like address needs. Like like the Raiders taking Bowers kind of like threw me for like that's not a team I would have had him like penciled in at. Because they have like Mayer,
Yeah.
And we'll go like the Browns passing on running backs, kind of just like not really making like a move for receiver, and you would consider like receiver a need for the Browns. So sometimes I don't know. I feel like teams going. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
And then you think about it. The last few years, the Browns done tried to draft a receiver, and
it's definitely a miss. It's not so much a hit, unfortunately.
Right.
Just calling it what it is, and it's If you're a Browns fan, it's upsetting.
So I'm cool with what they did, hey, depth pieces, because with this team now, it's not like where the draft used to be like, ooh,
Right, exactly. I mean, the draft has definitely lost its
luster here.
Yeah, the luster. It's kind of like how we've ended up talking about college basketball before, like men's college basketball. The draft's kind of overall the same way. But I mean, if you're looking at attendance numbers alive from the draft, they ended up setting records in Detroit. But people still have a niche audience for it. But I think it's also for you guys being Browns fans. What could you end up writing home about without having a first round pick? You end up seeing all these guys that you've ended up passing up on a questionable Deshaun Watson that it's still to be determined, and the questions there on what that future might look like. And finally, in another calendar year, you have a draft pick for a first rounder. As of right now, who knows if that's going to end up remaining there?
And to be honest, and even though we do have a first round draft pick, it could probably be in the 20s.
Yeah, at this point, it's no longer your top 10 picks for a Browns fan,
It'll be in the 20s.
But
because I expect the Browns to be decent this year, so.
Yeah, at least you could end up saying they're a good, solid 10-7, roughly, at least. And that's even with the North. And I mean, if not, worst case scenario, you're probably looking at 9-8, but that's even shooting the bar really low for the Browns.
That's low, yeah.
I think you're going to see the AFC North as a whole probably end up going 10-7 or better. Personally, they're going to be the best division in football once again.
Last year, I picked every team in the AFC North to finish over 500.
And it looks like if you do the same thing, you stick to the script, you're going to be fine.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, I'm glad they drafted Michael Hall. He'll help on the D-line. He'll help. He'll be a depth piece. The guy from Michigan, the mentor kid, he'll help as a depth piece on the offensive line because he's going to either be Wyatt Teller's replacement or Bitonio's replacement in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're not going to continue to pay two guards high-end money. That's not feasible.
No, and I mean, it's just you have Amari Cooper on top of it. You ended up getting Jerry Jeudy this past year. You end up having your defensive lineman. You had Tomlinson. You ended up having all these other positions that are filled. You're signing them to one-year deals at this point just because you're trying to end up having them to get to that Super Bowl threshold. And if they can't get there, why spend the money?
Exactly.
And Michael Hall, too. I want to say he was an all-around Cleveland kid, too. He went to Streetsboro High School, born and raised in Cleveland. A lot of things that fans could end up enjoying about him. And then on the other side, on the offensive line, you end up having, like CJ said, Zach Zinter.
A possible starter, a possible heir apparent.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be those two picks alone. I mean, I'm not going to say you won the draft, but you at least ended up having a good
suck ass too, man.
Honestly, I was thinking about getting into that next was the Cavs just because it's they play again tonight.
Ass, bro. Like, should have fired JB Bickerstaff and just fucking left him in. Should just left him in Orlando. Don't even let him fly home to coach game 4. Like, let Luke Walton coach game 5. I am done with JB Bickerstaff. Fucking seen enough George Niang to last a lifetime.
Hey, Casey was on, I think, last show, and he ended up saying how much of a fan he was of George Niang.
No, fuck George Niang, bro.
Casey is a fan of the guys that are the
Yeah, Miles
outcasts.
Straw.
Yeah, Miles Straw. That's a fact.
Miles
He's hoping
Straw,
he can get a jersey from Ed once again. That's the main reason why.
George Niang, and
George Niang stinks, dude.
I mean, honestly, at this point, the whole entire Cavs, I feel like I almost want to say they stink.
Outscored. What were they outscored? 37-10. Like he just like instead of bitching at the refs, just like do something, you know?
True. I'm gonna say this with the Cavs, and it might be a little harsh, but when you're supposed to be fourth best player on your team is technically your best player, which I'm saying Jared Allen, we got problems.
I mean, the best case scenario for the playoffs so far has just been
Jared Allen,
and I'd even say Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley at home has looked good. Away, I mean, they're not. He's not really
They all
shutting
look
down
terrible
much.
away. They stink.
At home, but this is going to be a home and home series, and if it comes down to it, guess what? The Cavs end up having 4 home games.
all the Cavs got to do is win Game 5 and Game 7.
Dude,
And they advance.
so much ass. I'm so
Who do
sorry.
they get to play? The Knicks
I
or
honestly
76ers?
I don't even want them to advance. They
get to play the winner of Miami and Boston.
Was it that?
Yep,
you're right. I looked at it wrong.
Miami and Boston. Yeah.
So it's going to be Boston, more than likely. The biggest surprise of the playoffs so far, and it's going to come up later on in the great debate. I think the biggest surprise on the East is the Milwaukee Bucks not being healthy and falling apart.
Hurt, yeah.
And in the West, I'd
Doc
say
Rivers
the
is
Suns getting
clueless.
swept.
Dude, Ant Edwards a dog.
He is. But you know what? I had Minnesota advancing. I had them beating Phoenix because Phoenix don't have a point guard. And you see the difference with Minnesota last year and this year with a point guard, which is something the Cavs didn't address during the season. They needed a backup point because Ty Jerome hasn't played since Game 1. And JB doesn't trust Porter.
No,
so
not at all.
Didn't Porter get hurt?
I think he
got hurt.
Yeah. Sam Merrill refuses to play Sam Merrill. Like, he refuses to play Sam Merrill. Like, that's going on still. But we'll play George Niang and watch McCall chuck up fucking 30 misses a game.
You could have signed Kyle Lowry on the buyout deal.
Yeah, but also that's with the buyout. But going into the season, wasn't Ricky Rubio at the start of the year still a possibility before he ended up retiring?
He was still a possibility. But I think he told them that he wasn't going to play like right before training camp and everything.
Dude, they just fucking stink. Like, I'm so sick of this team. There's a lack of size. Like, Orlando's big and you won't send them out there just to put somebody in their ass. I'm not one that advocates for that. But you know what I mean? Like, let's get some toughness going. You just got your butt kicked, like, waxed.
The problem with the Cavs and Orlando, the two differences, Orlando comes out inspired and ready to play.
They're big.
Even when they was getting beat here, it wasn't like the Cavs was just dusting the floor with them. Orlando could have came back in both games.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they have
in game 2.
They have fight. The Magic
they're not scoring.
And the Cavs just give up. It's like,
we haven't scored 100 points yet.
Nope.
Trying to get a free Big Mac. The purchase is $2 or more.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Burger King is though.
Donovan Mitchell scored 18 points in the first half on Saturday.
Yeah, and then
none. Darius Garland only scored 14 points.
Darius, what are we gonna do? I just don't know.
What is the future like for the Cavs? Do you end up relying on LeBron to come back? Bring back Brownie? Print the shirts, bring back Brownie and LeBron on the back. So be it. It's not pretty right now, though.
If the series ends like all bad.
I think the Knicks has been my biggest surprise in the playoffs, by the way. I forgot to answer that.
If the season ends all bad and they lose this series,
you might as well trade Mitchell because he's not coming back.
It's going to be Hurricane DG. And I ain't talking about Darius Garland. But the only thing that can be messed up about that is if Dan goes and fires everybody. Let's just say he fires Kobe Altman.
He should
and
fire
JB.
everybody. Kobe Allman giving Georgia that contract is a fireable offense, man. See, enough Georgia ain't last a lifetime.
But let me ask you this question. Do you trust Dan Gilbert to hire a coach? Considering the past two.
Consider the past couple, dude. Like, oh my God. Let's look at this illustrious coach.
David Blatt. In all fairness to David Blatt, David Blatt really wasn't hired to coach LeBron. He was really hired to coach Kyrie.
He didn't even last.
And Beeline.
Who is that? Yeah, JB, Beeline.
Coaches, honestly.
Tyronn Lue. Then we fired Ty Lue.
And his coach.
We brought Mike Brown back, Byron Scott. Jesus.
Then he tried to hire Tom Izzo.
Yeah, this shit is fucking. Oh my God.
Oof. So, hopefully,
what are your coaching options though for the Cavs? Like, what would be a reasonable head coach?
I don't know.
There really isn't one, unless if you end up looking like a player coach.
I think this Lakers series, this Lakers Nuggets series, to me has been the best series.
I got 3.
Go for it.
I could say Mark Jackson.
No.
Mark Jackson, because honestly, if you trade Donovan, you got to stick with Darius, and Darius needs a point guard.
Yeah, but Jackson's been out of
that can get him right. That can empower him, get him back, get his powers back. Then also got Sam Cassell. I think he's with the Celtics. Y'all frozen. Y'all in the phantom zone. Uh-oh. Y'all frozen. Y'all here to see me? Hello? Yep. I'm back. I'm back. Like I said, I got a possible 3 coaching candidates for the Cavs in case it all goes bad. 1, Mark Jackson. 2, Sam Cassell. And 3 is a wild card. Rajon Rondo. He knows the game in and out. He knows the game in and out. Now I'm here by myself here on this show and everything. So, like I said, but hopefully all the Cavs gotta do is win tomorrow, and everybody will forget about them 2 games in Orlando. If they win tomorrow and they win Friday and win game 6, everybody will forget about them 2 games in Orlando. But the Cavs got to get it together. They have to get it together. They got to get some heart on this team. They need to go see the Wizard, because this team plays with no heart at all. None. But let's go along the NBA. Minnesota Timberwolves sent the Phoenix Suns packing last night. 4-0 sweep. Can you say the name Anthony Edwards? Dude is nasty. Nasty. Said he wants to destroy anybody coming his way. Nasty. Nasty. And it just shows where Phoenix, sure enough, you had Kevin Durant, you had Bradley Beal, but think about this. What really, in the book, as Kevin Durant won without Steph and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson fought the Golden State Warriors? What has he really won? Really, anybody can tell me, what has KD won? Besides with the Golden State Warriors. Vince, you back?
Well,
you back?
somehow, I'm on my phone. We're back for now. So we'll make it happen. Man, what else would be new is technical difficulties. But, yeah, I mean, what were the top 3 coaches again?
My top 3 coaches, I have a wild card. I say, fuck it, go for broke. I got a 4th, too. But Mark Jackson, 1.
Okay.
2, Sam Cassell, who's currently an assistant, I think, with Boston still, I think. Sam Cassell. He needs a shot. 3, this is a wild card right here. Rajon Rondo.
Ooh.
I think he could actually pull it off, too. Because dude is a savant at the game. He's a savant. And I got another wild card. I actually got 2 more wild cards. Even though I don't think one will actually leave, I would even put a couple of women in the race. Becky Hammond.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting choice, definitely.
He coached the Spurs, yes. And another person I know that the Cavs will respect would be Dawn Staley. Even though I think she's staying at South Carolina, but the hell, you ain't got nothing to lose because I really don't want to retread. You know what I'm saying?
No. Why go backwards when they already have? Yeah. Rondo I like a lot, though.
Yeah, because that dude know the game back and forth. And like you said, if Donovan Mitchell is bon voyage after this year, Darius Garland need all the support he can get to get back to 2021-22.
He's defense first then, too, more than likely, and that's what you're going to do as a defense first coach.
Yes.
When was the last time that happened?
Mike Brown?
I couldn't name you the last defense coach.
Ty Lue and Mike Brown?
Maybe, and that's even probably a stretch, you know?
Right.
And it's sad that we're talking playoffs and we're talking JB Bickerstaff without being in the future, but that's the way it's looking if they end up being swept.
Yeah.
They end up having, well, not swept, but if they end up losing the series.
Yeah, they'd end up losing the series. Because nothing against JB, for real, because he has changed the culture, but sometimes some coaches can only take you so far.
Yeah. And he just seems like he could take you to the playoffs, but that's about it.
That's about it. Because think about this. I didn't see the second half of the game because I had to go to work. But I heard it was like a 39-5 run, and JB didn't call timeout to stop the momentum at any time.
Yeah, you can't be doing that.
That's fireable.
Right, like CJ said, that's a fireable offense.
That's fireable. 39-5 run in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
you gotta.
And here it is, Vince. I'm watching. You talk about the Cavs playing and everything that they're young and stuff. I'm looking at Minnesota done went past us. OKC done went past us. Indiana done went past us. And here it is. We struggling to get out the first round.
And they shouldn't be.
We get out the first round.
And they shouldn't be. That's the downfall of the team is that they shouldn't be losing as often as that they are. Like, congrats, you're getting to the playoffs, but you're getting to the playoffs because of Donovan Mitchell. That's the main thing.
Right. And then when the playoffs come, Donovan's not even, he hasn't really done nothing really since game 1. If you really think about it, that's when he scored 30, right? In game 1. And right now, 18 points in the first half and nothing in the second half. Oh, you know, switched over?
Yep, we switched over. We figured it out. You know how much I care about this? Is we have to end up having the hotspot, courtesy of the old iPhone.
Hey, nothing wrong with it. I used to use the hotspot all the time.
If there's a will, there's a way. That's a saying. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But the future of the Cavs.
But there's no reason why. Right, unless if you're the Cavs, you're struggling.
They got to figure it out.
But before we end up going any further, though, I heard from a little birdie, we got to pay them bills. So,
okay.
On that note, before I end up forgetting and going any further, I guess what that means is that it's, in the words of Ed in Columbus, it's W time. So if you want an energy drink that you could mix at home that doesn't give you the jitters or make you crash, if you do, try W. These products have no calories, no maltodextrin, whatever that is. CJ could tell you one thing or another. Don't believe him. He doesn't know what maltodextrin is, but it's not good for you. We don't know either. There's no fillers. There's no artificial colors. And W has great flavors such as Dragonade, Galaxy Grenade, Beach and Peach, Dub Sludge, and the new Enebo Elixir, which is like a sour gummy bear. If you want to try W, head on over to w.gg and use the promo code We Like Sportz to get 10% off your order. Our friends at W offer clean energy to help you get better. Am I better? I'm wearing a tank top today, post workout. As my man Joey Crum said, sun's out, guns out. The sun is out, the guns are out, and the W was in my cup.
And
moving
it's 83 degrees.
We got the Snooze You Lose podcast. Oh, it was a hot one today, brother. I tell you what. Snooze You Lose podcast. Make sure to check out the Snooze You Lose podcast with Uncle Joe the Black Bookie. He'll get you set with the Sunday Snooze You Lose pick of the week. He didn't sound one in this week. That's okay. But I'm sure, as 90% of the time so happens to be, it's a hit. So if you want to trust the guy to end up picking your Sunday Snooze You Lose pick of the week, check out Uncle Joe and the Snooze You Lose podcast, because who doesn't want more coin in that man purse? Because, Keith, I know you have your man purse on you.
No, I don't.
And while you don't have it, man, you must have left that in the other room.
No, not a metrosexual.
Is that metrosexual as in the rapper with Drake, Metro, and beefing?
No, that's the term they use for guys that carry the man purse and stuff like that. They call them metrosexuals and stuff.
I thought you were going off the rap beef, because I'm actually caught up to a point.
I wasn't even thinking about the rap beef and everything, because now it's crazy, because you know Chris Brown is battling a dude in the Migos, Quavo. Is it Quavo?
Yep. Or J. Cole, maybe it was him. Quavo?
Yeah, Chris Brown and Quavo, and
all these rappers
J.
that
Cole,
we grew up
Kendrick,
with.
Drake,
yeah.
Yes. But
and with beef, we're speaking protein with this beef. So if you need a good protein powder, check out Titan Nutrition. If you're looking for a good protein product, head on over to titannutrition.net/We Like Sportz with a Z, and they'll hook you up. Also, make sure to check out the We Like Sportz website, which is WeLikeSportsPC.com. Check us out on X at We Like Sportz PC. Check us out on our YouTube page, We Like Sports Show. And find us, because in the words of my man Ed in Columbus, I can't get enough of me. I love me some me. It's contagious when you're in the spot. I tell you that. I don't know what it is, but I love me some me. And that's it for the ad reads. Now, back to you.
Hey, speaking of the NBA playoffs, we're not going to get depressed over the Cavs because, truthfully, if they win tomorrow and they win Friday, all be forgiven because they'll move on to the next round and stuff like that. But we can go into some other series that are more compelling, like the Philadelphia New York series.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that series could have been tied up way more than what it is right now.
Yeah. 3-1. 3-1 New York.
You got the 76ers down.
Huh? Because the one thing about the Knicks, I give them credit, they got heart.
I mean, it's
and Jalen Brunson is a monster. He is a monster. 47 points set the New York Knicks scoring record in the playoff game. And
I know Jalen.
Huh?
Yep, they've ended up. He set that scoring record too.
Yes.
That's the Dallas Mavericks are looking back at that trade, and I wouldn't say necessarily unhappy with it, but they're definitely realizing the piece that Jalen Brunson could have brought in them if they somehow found a way to end up having. You got Jalen Brunson, Luka, Kyrie.
Dallas ain't nothing to be snoozed at because that series is still in the balance in LA. You could advertise JoJo to move her on Peyton's foot. Oh,
jeez. We're talking rental space for sponsorships right here. Get a graphic. Get the graphics team ready. That's
what's up, Jason? What's going on with you?
Got Jason and JoJo hanging out in the chat. Of course. Can't beat that.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Feel free to chat with us. Holler at us. Hit us up.
Talk NBA playoffs. Feel free to. I mean,
if you feel that the Cavs suck and JB needs to be fired, let us know. God damn it! If you feel they should just go ahead and trade Donovan Mitchell after this calamity is over with, let us know. Hit us up. What's up, Joey Crum?
As they say, let them know. That's the Cavs hashtag. Also, let them know if they suck.
They need to have another hashtag. Prove it.
Honestly, you're not lying.
Prove it. I done heard all to let them know.
I feel like the best one, and it's sad because the best one I'm saying is tied 2-2, is the Clippers Mavericks. And that feels like a by far better series that's a coin flip. And the Cavs don't even feel like a coin flip game either. I mean, Miami and the Celtics tonight could end up being tied up 2-2. But come Tuesday, the Cavs Magic, they could end up running away with it. The Magic, if they win one in Cleveland, I hate to say it, guys, series is over.
Yeah, because all the Magic needed was confidence.
Yeah, and they got it. They got it back at home. And Casey was saying, Casey in Orlando was saying last week that seeing that Magic when they were down there, a lot of Magic fans aren't quite Magic fans until it comes playoff time, and maybe that's why they're saving up their money. He said they're just dressing casual in the Magic jerseys, probably a bunch of Tracy McGrady jerseys back in the day,
Shaq jerseys, Penny Hardaway jerseys,
Dwight Howard even, and that was probably the last time they ended up following them. Either way, it's going to end up probably being an exit shortly afterwards if they end up facing Boston, or if they face the Heat too, because the Heat are even a good team. They're solid all around.
That's true. That's definitely true. And you got to look at the Miami Heat missing their two top scorers right now, Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier.
Yep, and Butler might be done for the rest of the playoffs because of his MCL. I think he ended up injuring an MCL
Yeah, it's like
sprain.
they said weeks. Yeah, they said weeks. And nobody's heard nothing as far as Rozier's injury and stuff and whatnot.
It's tough to talk about other NBA series because I want to talk about the Cavs, but there's nothing really to talk about. But I mean, it could be worse. We could end up saying that we're Bucks fans and they're down 3-1. And they're dealing with a bunch of injuries and having excuses.
Yeah, it's bad with Milwaukee right now. Because if Lillard and Giannis don't play in Game 5, they could be going home.
And that was a 3 seed too. And the Pacers might be the best team in our division when you end up looking down at it and when it's the playoff bracket all together.
Yep. Indiana, man. It's crazy because then when Portis got thrown out, I said, oh, this is about to be the ball game.
Yep.
Right there, because Middleton ain't going to be able to carry him all by himself. It's like, oh. I said, man. But can
Portis
you say DJ Halliburton?
Portis turned it for him.
Yes.
Yeah. Tyrese
and Miles
Halliburton
Turner.
For the
matter of fact, Tyrese Halliburton, yeah. And Miles Turner.
Turner had a huge game too. He had a huge game for a big man. I forgot what I saw on a 4-letter network.
But he had 29 and like a double-double or something, like 29 and something.
If the Pacers end up having the ability to surpass the Cavs, and I mean, I doubt it's going to happen. Let's be real here. But if they ended up having the Pacers, let's just say, face the Knicks, which is going to be an interesting conference semi game. In the conference finals is the Pacers and the Cavs.
And they're old Eastern Conference rivals anyway.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day, I mean, they had 2008. I saw a meme on on somebody's Twitter, and it had a Pacers fan, and it had his kid wearing a Cavaliers jersey or vice versa, a Cavs fan having their son to wear a Pacers jersey, and it had a sign with an arrow saying, "Boo, my son," which is great. But that just shows you back in the day, that's how competitive it was, and the Pacers were on a rebuild at one point.
Yes. They was on a rebuild last year. They weren't even in the playoffs. They finished like 11th in the East.
Yeah, exactly. They got Halliburton, and they ended up figuring it out. And Halliburton's just grown and grown and grown. They ended up getting. I think they had. Let me double.
They got Pascal. They got Pascal Siakam.
They ended up having Pacers. They
got Pascal Siakam.
3-team deal
from Toronto.
Yep, I believe that was it.
Yep.
And Siakam's looked really good too. He's fit in very well.
Yes. And now the thing that is going to be the big question is, what will be Milwaukee's fate if they lose tomorrow?
I mean,
what direction will they go in?
You got to get rid of Doc. What's up, Doc? Not him. The doctor is not in, and it's going to be the downfall of the team. And again, Doc Rivers, if he ends up being fired or let go or Milwaukee moves on, I most certainly do not want to see him in a Cavaliers organization whatsoever.
Like I said, no retreads.
Exactly.
No retreads.
We got Alex, too, that's a fan coming straight from the Bronx. Originally, man. Of course, being a Knicks fan. He got his
last year he was hollering, too, last year when the Knicks put us out.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. It is Alex. He is a shit talker after all.
Yeah, he was hollering. Said, Brooklyn. Oh, you from Brooklyn, but you're a Knicks fan.
He's hopping on live here.
He said yes.
Just having a full conversation with you.
He said yes. Hey, I'm gonna be honest, especially after that. Hey, Jalen Brunson owns Donovan Mitchell. For real, for real. Jalen
No
Brunson
doubt.
put Donovan Mitchell out when they was in the West. When Jalen was with Dallas, he live in Alaska. Okay, he owns Donovan Mitchell, and right now he owns the Sixers. He owns the Sixers. But moving right along, moving from the Milwaukee Indiana series, you also got the Boston and Miami Heat series. They're going in game 4 today. Boston up 2-1. And sometimes with the Celtics, sometimes I think they got woke up when they lost at home last week to Miami. Now, we'll see what happens because Boston sometimes doesn't take success very well. And Miami, I said it on my show that Miami would give him at least 6, win 2. And I think Miami probably will pull it off tonight. But I got Boston winning the series, just like I had New York winning the series against Philly. And I still got the Cavs in 7. Got them in 7. All's not lost. All hope is not lost yet. And right now, I had Milwaukee winning in 7, but I don't know. That's looking kind of shaky right now. Unless Giannis and Dame Lillard return. Now, let's move over to the West Coast, to the West, where Minnesota sent Phoenix packing. Swept them in 4. All you can say is Anthony Edwards. He's become my new favorite player in the league.
Anthony Edwards is a fun player to watch. And in the post game too, ended up calling out his teammate Cat and just said, "Stay out of foul trouble." And look what happened when he did. He said that teammate, that player, Cat is that guy. He could do offense. He could be off ball. He could do this. He could do that. He could do anything if he stays out of foul trouble.
Stays focused. That's it. And think about this. Now, I can easily say this. What has Kevin Durant won without the Golden State Warriors?
Nothing.
Just being real. Yeah. I mean, another sweep.
I have an idea for later on in the show. We'll probably end up going up until a little bit after 7. But instead of the great debate, just because CJ ended up having he had a phone call with Burger King because he said that they were a sponsor. So I think he was trying to move some parts, get an extra crown. Not sure where he went, but he said maybe he's on business. He doesn't even know what's going on. But instead of the great debate between you and I and having somebody figure out a moderator,
right,
we'll end up having a closing time, and I'm going to get your thoughts, and then I'll give mine. I like that idea for today.
Okay, cool.
Alex had one here. Here we go.
He coming to the Knicks with Booker, who KD
and Booker. They're going to have a super team, which means they're going to be knocked out in the first round. That's usually how it goes with any KD super team.
I think it'll be one or the other, Alex, honestly. I think it may be KD more likely than Booker, even though I'm going to be honest with you. Now, let me ask you this, Vince. Booker could be available. Would you trade Donovan Mitchell for Booker?
Depends. Is Devin Booker going to end up staying in Cleveland longer than Mitchell is? Because if so, I'm doing it, but I'm not going to end up doing the rental thing. I mean,
I want to do the rental thing. No, hell
You have this win now mentality. You ended up having 2 years of Mitchell. I'm not going to end up having Booker for – let's check this out. Let's see Devin Booker's contract really quick because I don't think there's that much left.
I think he's a free agent or something. Yeah, it ain't that much left.
And he's getting paid $50 million almost, according to Spotrac, on a 4-year deal. I mean,
when does his contract run out?
He just signed this 4-year deal in just rounding up.
Hmm.
That longevity, I would end up having. I do that trade for Mitchell.
Oh yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I would do that in a heartbeat.
So again, you're getting a guard that's ball heavy. You're gonna have to end up figuring out how to end up having Donovan Mitchell. Without him, what's Darius Garland? Is Donovan Mitchell the one that was problematic for Darius Garland? Which, with what we saw with Darius Garland not being around, it is what it is.
Cavs played their best ball, yeah. Cavs played their best ball when Darius wasn't around, to be honest, when him and Mobley was out. If Mitchell came to the Knicks 2 years ago, you guys would have picked up Brunt. True.
That
then we'd have been putting the Knicks out.
Could you imagine if the Cavs ended up having Jalen Brunson too, like how Alex mentioned?
Ooh.
And you ended up having Garland, and you ended up having Mobley, and you had Allen.
They probably would have traded Garland by now, or they probably wouldn't have signed him to that max deal.
Game.
Yeah, because the thing with Garland is his contract gonna be kind of hard to get rid of because he got that max deal, and he's not showing max results.
No, not at all.
But anyway, I would be a supporter for the New York Liberty.
WNBA.
Yep. Their season about to start soon. Also, shout out to Candace Parker. She's retiring from the WNBA. I didn't realize she played that long. 16 years?
I didn't realize that either. I did catch that.
Yeah. I was like, wow. But shout out to her and her other career endeavors. She made a mark on the game. She might be a head coach soon. Yes. But going into
before we end up going from the NBA to another topic here, I think you were kind of already doing this while I ended up stepping away for a second. But let's preview by the time next Monday or Tuesday when we end up coming back for the We Like Sportz show.
Okay.
What it might look like. You got game 4 tonight, Oklahoma City against the Pelicans. Oklahoma City's up 3-0. I think tonight
Pelicans done.
The Thunder sweeping. Yep.
They might get one. Well, wait a minute. Is Zion playing tonight?
Let me see. I didn't see anything earlier in the day.
If Zion ain't playing, if Zion ain't playing, OKC is advancing to the next round.
Let's see, because there's a couple of them just in question. Will he play 2 weeks ago? Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, even Brandon Ingram might be a decent possibility for the future for the Cavs too.
That too, yeah.
He's been ruled out for game 4 against the Thunder. So that might be
over. It's over.
And shout out to Alex one more time saying you guys rock, keep the debates going. It gives me ammo when I go to work and talk shit.
That's what's up, Alex. That's definitely
appreciate
what's up.
You, Alex.
No doubt.
But the Thunder sweeping away.
No Zion, the Thunder sweeping.
Got Clippers, Mavericks series tied 2-2. This one's probably going to be the best series in the NBA right now, but I would say let's actually write this down. We'll come back here and we'll play a little bit of a game and we'll see who's right for bragging rights. So we got the Thunder.
If Kawhi doesn't come back, I have to go with Dallas.
You know what? I was going to say the same thing as Dallas for both of us. Just because the Dallas Mavericks have been fun to watch.
Yes.
I mean,
you got to think it took Harden to have a flashback game to Houston days yesterday. And they're not going to get out to 31 on Dallas like that, I don't think, in game 5.
And the Mavericks ended up running away after just having a slow start. They ended up making that game interesting even more.
Yes.
Because they were down by 30 points.
Yeah,
Only
30
scored
points.
18 in the first
Yes.
quarter, and they just got outscored. But
Yes.
the Mavericks, the one thing that I think has been appealing from that series too is the grit between both teams. Smash mouth basketball. They both look like they hate each other out there. They don't want to be friends. They are not friendly opponents. They're just out there to kick ass and take names and win games.
And think about this. Kyrie makes you go back to when he was with us.
Yep.
Whew. Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland can't hold Kyrie's shorts. They can't hold Kyrie's shorts. Like the Bulls and Pistons.
Like Kyrie Irving looks like the old version that was missing in the Nets. Brooklyn missed him big time. And that game's May 1st, so we got a Wednesday game, 10 p.m. for Clippers Mavericks. Timberwolves already ended up sweeping that series. You got the Nuggets and Lakers tonight, 10 o'clock. I think I already know the answer to this. I'd say the Nuggets in 6.
I think the Nuggets going to take them out tonight. I think they tired of playing with LA now.
I think the Lakers, I think this is it for LeBron, though, in the Lakers uniform.
That could be true. That could definitely be true.
Because they looked like they were almost swept in 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, you've seen it earlier on. Him and Ham do not get along together.
Nah. Ham or Anthony Davis, for that matter.
No, like Davis has just ended up. Davis has made LeBron James's career more difficult, it seems, and that was a piece that was hopefully going to end up helping him out, but that's not the case, and they ended up trading away too much, and they had Cleveland Brown syndrome, and
you think about all the guys the Lakers had that they traded for Anthony Davis. You had Ball. You had Ingram.
Yep.
That's your starting lineup right there. Ingram at the 3, LeBron at the 4, Ball at the 1. Then you also had Caruso coming off the bench. Defense was no problem for the Lakers.
But instead, you had to get AD.
Yeah.
You had to get what LeBron wanted. It was Brown ball all the time.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Thunder, before we end up heading out of the West completely, could you imagine? I know Alex ended up making a comment about Bronny here, saying that he might get traded to the Knicks and LeBron's going to come too.
That's a possibility.
Everybody's coming to the Knicks if you're Alex. I don't think Bronny's a first-round draft pick, though. Alex said Detroit has the first round or the first pick, but Bronny might go there.
Nah, he's not going there.
It depends if you end up getting LeBron guaranteed to go with them. I think teams might reach big time, but I don't think he's going there either.
Truthfully, I hope he go back to school. For real.
Yeah, it would be smart, but that actually was a great debate question, too. And we'll end up saving that for closing time. I'm not going to end up jumping ahead too far yet.
Right.
But with the Thunder, though, could you imagine they have however many draft picks over the years and they're number 1 seed?
Yes.
You could trade for LeBron if you wanted to and get Bronny with him and have a star-studded team that was already talked about way back when. Just with
they'll win
rumors
the title.
Easily, if they don't already this year. The Thunder are a great team, very young all around. The Thunder might surprise some people, especially making moves with those draft picks. But
because they can be in the Western Conference Finals, because it's going to be Minnesota and most likely Denver duking it out on the other side. And OKC can get
Clippers or Mavericks.
That's going to be a tough
the
draw for
Mavericks.
them. Yeah.
But heading over to the East, though, you got the Celtics and the Heat. Boston's up 2-1. Game 4 tonight. I'd say
Miami got one more win in them.
Yep, same here. I think we're on the same track because the Celtics play down to competition. I'd say
exactly.
The Celtics.
That's what I said earlier. They tend to play to their competition sometimes, and which gets them in trouble.
So are you saying the Celtics in 6 then too?
6, yeah.
You got the Cavs, Magic.
That's going 7.
Cavs in 7?
Yep.
That's right. I don't think the Cavs in 6 is possible. They have to win one.
They got to go on the road.
Bucks, Pacers. I think this game's over come tomorrow night. I think the Pacers end up winning 4-1 and 5. I don't know what you're thinking.
It's a possibility. I'm going to say this. If it's no Dame and no Giannis, Pacers going to win.
Let's see. Giannis.
If it's no Dame and no Giannis.
A ruling early on. Game time decision. He's doubtful for game 5. And you have let's see. If he's doubtful for game 5, I don't have a good feeling with Giannis. Because Giannis hasn't played a game yet throughout the playoffs, correct?
No, he hasn't.
And you have Damian Lillard, same situation. He's doubtful as well for game 5 with an Achilles injury, and Achilles injuries aren't nice to play with.
No.
I'm confident saying Pacers in 5.
Yeah. That's oof.
And last but not least, you got the Knicks, Alex's team, Alex the man. Knicks
the
up
Garden going to be rocking tomorrow.
I'd still say the Knicks end up winning in 6. I don't think they're going to end up winning in game 5 to end the series. I think they'll end up ending it in 76ers territory.
I got them winning game 5. It's just something about that team. And if you really want to be honest, what big game has Philadelphia won in the Embiid era?
Yeah, that is true. They've struggled a lot, and it seems that all of Philadelphia has changed up on them and forgotten about them too.
Yeah, I mean, what big game has they won? Knicks in 5.
I
had them originally Knicks in 6.
We got 2 things. Everything else we've agreed on. So, quick breakdown. We got Thunder, both end up advancing. Dallas both advancing. Nuggets in 6. Nuggets in 5 for you. Celtics in 6. Cavs in 7. Pacers in 5 for both of us. And then the Knicks in 6 for me and the Knicks in 5 for you.
Yep.
But before we end up moving on and jumping over towards one MLB question and then closing time,
okay,
I got to do our favorite segment.
This is Ed in Columbus with your We Like Sportz breaking news.
All right. I'm Ed in Columbus. Nope. Just kidding. I'm Peyton in Cleveland doing your very special edition of Break Ed News. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted linebacker Peyton Wilson. With a name like Peyton, he's bound to be a success. Jeff Passan has stated that the MLB uniforms might be fixed by 2025, if not earlier. Sorry, ladies. Time to pay attention to your man in his see-through pants and sweaty jerseys now. Over this past weekend, Jamal Charles received slander from NFL fans for being unable to read. Is this how Ed in Columbus feels every time CJ joins the show? Stay tuned next week. And this was Peyton Vince with Break Ed News.
Ed News.
I had to do the Jamal Charles thing because the amount of time that CJ has said that he's fucked it up, it so happens that it just fits that way.
Wow.
But it actually does suck, though, too, that fans actually did give slander to Jamal Charles because he ended up saying he couldn't read. I mean, he ended up struggling. He ended up saying his time in the Special Olympics, and he participated in that. And just because he wasn't as educated as everybody else could be, they gave him an opportunity. They ended up showcasing him. he probably gave awareness to a lot of those kids that do struggle with that. The confidence and that public speaking. I mean, anybody that does public speaking, it is troublesome in front of a crowd, let alone 725,000 people. He had a platform. He gave people awareness. And I know people ended up kind of making fun of him because he didn't say 2024. He said 2024 or whatever. But still, you're giving a good representation of somebody that was a pro athlete, that was up here on the upper echelon at one point, that just because he struggled just like you and I and everybody else struggles, so be it. Let the man be.
And he's speaking his truth.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going above and beyond to be educated and saying that I went through extra schooling. And maybe he did. Maybe he still struggles through it. Everybody has struggles. Everybody has downfalls and weaknesses. It goes that way in life. It goes that way in sports. And that's just the way it works.
Plus in America, the average reading level is 6th grade.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to end up going a step further too, you see how many homeless people in every city. You name Philadelphia, you name Cleveland, you name any larger city. I mean, shit, no pun intended. California has a poop map with all the things that have feces and fecal matter outside of their state.
Yep.
Probably from people without having homes. People still need to do their business somewhere. And being homeless doesn't mean that you're a scrub. It just means that your life's a little bit more difficult. Just because you've ended up going through hard times, and hard times happen. As Dusty Rhodes once said, let me tell you about hard times. He's gone through them, but he ended up having a great life for his son, Cody Rhodes. Just ended up wrapping that up all together and having classic WWE talk. I know Keith's learning it from Ed, Casey, CJ, and I. One way or another, we're going to turn him into a fan.
Hey, like I said, like they say, you only a month going without a check to be homeless. For real.
Honestly. And unemployment could only give you so far.
That's it. That's definitely it.
But changing gears before we end up wrapping up the show. And again, thank you for tuning in, everybody, today to the We Like Sportz show. Shout out to Keith. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Ed. Shout out to Casey. Shout out to CJ for joining us, even though he's taking that phone call. It's been over about 40 minutes at Burger King, but so be it. Get them Whoppers for us, man. Right? Burger King is the Whoppers, right?
Right.
I had to make sure. I wasn't saying the wrong product.
You was right.
For us. But as for now, our closing time. Let's see if I could end up finding the little Ed dude. I don't know how he does this sometimes. He knows this program a little bit better than I do. But closing time, scrolling at the bottom, just imagine it, you know. But the thing that I've noticed in baseball that's been a bit frustrating for me, and I've seen it last night with the Cubs Red Sox game. I've seen it a lot with the Guardians. I've seen it a lot just when I end up paying attention to it. Why are MLB teams using their closer in the 9th inning when it's a tie game? Remember back in the day with guys like Trevor Hoffman, Mariano Rivera, anybody that was a classic closer, Francisco Rodriguez, good old K-Rod. Why are these closers now getting a situation in a win or a loss, receiving that win or a loss and a blown save possibly, when they're in a situation that they can't even get the save? Why are they tarnishing, with air quotes, their records? Why are they in situations like this? I feel like you're not setting your closer up for success. Is it maybe because you have these fireball closers that are throwing so hard? I saw it last night, for example, Kenley Jensen with the Red Sox coming in the 9th inning. He got the win, but why was he in there in a tie game in the 9th inning? I don't get it.
True. They managed the game different now. You know what I'm saying? They managed the game entirely different now. Where the 9th inning, or where if the game was tied, they have another reliever in. But then also, it all probably depends too which part of the order that they're in the 9th inning. That, you know, you probably want to go out with your best guy and get through 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Don't get me wrong. Like Clase is always fun to end up seeing in any appearance whatsoever. I mean, he throws upper 90s, 100,
Yes.
101, 102 on the gun. But why are you using them in non-save opportunities? You're using them when they're down too. It doesn't make sense to me. And
then I think it's
I feel like
also
I'm not the only one.
sometimes, and I think it's also sometimes probably the workload. Like say if Clase hasn't pitched in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably just want to get him in and get his work in,
And that makes sense. I could understand that part. But other than that, like you said, I think you put it best. The game's changed so much, and you end up having however many people now. Like, let's just, for example, before we move on to the next topic, I want to look up Trevor Hoffman, his stats, and let's look up, let's say, Kenley Jensen. Because two good closers.
Because back in the day when I was coming up, back like in the 70s and 80s, like Goose Gossage used to pitch like 2 innings in close games. Back in the 70s and 80s. Steve Howe used to pitch 2 innings. And now it's just 1 inning. You know what I'm saying? You got all these relief specialists now. So
maybe
got it? Vince, you're not frozen in time, are you? Uh-oh.
I'm back.
Okay.
Did you hear any of the stats that I just rattled off? If not,
nope.
What a load of horse shit. All right, let's try this again. Part 2. This just makes sense for technical difficulties. But hello, I'm here. Just wanted to make sure.
Uh-oh.
Kenley Jansen. Am I frozen again? You said uh-oh and you scare me.
You good
Every
now.
time.
You good now.
Every time I hear uh-oh, it's not good. But Kenley Jansen, 46 and 34, 425 saves, and 823 and a third innings pitched. For Trevor Hoffman, 18-year career, 61 and 75, 601 saves, and 1,089 and a third innings pitched. Maybe I'm wrong here, and maybe I ended up just thinking that closers in that role over time have just not really been in that closer role. And maybe it comes down to the workload, like you mentioned. But it seems like it's more consistently with the appearance nowadays, because like somebody like Clase should not be in 80-plus games and manage that workload a little less. But that's my gripe. I wanted to hit on that, because I've noticed that too over time. As for the closing time, great debate. Insert closing time. Time to talk to Pete and Kate, and I can't speak anymore. My name's Peyton, this guy is Keith. We're gonna close the show with you and me.
Alrighty.
This is for Ed in Columbus. Yeah. That was all freestyle. No charge. But with closing time, had some fun there, I love me some me. I'm just like Ed in Columbus. But Guardians not beating the Braves and losing 2 out of 3, is that something to worry about? Keith, if you want to go first.
No, it's not. Atlanta is a good team. You know what I'm saying? And the Guardians was in 2 of the 3 games. You know what I'm saying? And truthfully, if the Guardians hadn't had base running miscues in the 10th inning, who knows what would have happened.
Yep, on that Sunday game, I completely agree. And honestly, I know that they're out there. I know that there's plenty of Guardians ex-haters out there that end up loving to hate the Guardians. But when you're facing, I think I said on 1450, 93.5, WLEC on Friday, I think I ended up saying that if the Braves ended up taking 2 out of 3 against the Guardians and they ended up taking 2 of 3 against Houston, come back home to Atlanta or Anaheim on Friday, I'm not mad with that. If they just won that series, and they did, the Braves are only like a game and a half best team in baseball ahead of the Guardians. And they have a solid 1 through 9. They've locked up all their players through the future. You got Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna, Matt Olson. You've ended up having any player whatsoever, Sean Murphy, that didn't even play that series. Their 1 through 9 is absolutely stacked. And their pitching's pretty solid, too. They had Charlie Morton, that's the ageless wonder at 40 years old. And you end up having a pitching rotation with the Guardians that don't look too hot. I mean, Tanner Bybee had the best start so far in a long time with the Guardians against Atlanta as only his second year. So be it. Let the Guardians take 1 of 3. Don't scoff about it. That is the best team in baseball. But the Guardians, I don't want to be sounding too far-fetched. 1948 keeps on coming up consistently. 1948 was the time when the Cleveland Indians won the last World Series. Is that a World Series preview that we saw? It was classic Braves versus Guardians. Who knows?
Who knows? Because it's a long way to go. So,
but
who knows?
As of right now, 2 great teams in baseball. You got a young team. Find a little bit of pitching over time. Nothing to scoff about whatsoever.
Yes. 2 young teams at that.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 young teams in one organization has a better clue of locking down the long-term deals. They need to end up staying and extending guys like Josh Naylor, guys like Stephen Kwan. They need to figure that out soon because you got to lock them up early. Yeah, not everybody's going to be like Jose Ramirez and run away and give you a hometown discount. More people are going to be like the Francisco Lindors out there.
That ain't happening.
But next topic for closing time. LeBron James playing with Bronny and the NBA. Can LeBron James make Bronny James NBA ready? Because personally, I think that he can. You said earlier, go back to school. That might be your better option. He played at USC. He might go play with the Buckeyes if he goes back to school. Who knows? But I personally think that if LeBron ended up taking his own son and was able to show him the way as a veteran that's been around the league for as long as he did, I think that that's your best teacher right now is your dad, LeBron James, Bronny.
True.
I think that's your best case scenario, and I would end up going into the league, and I'm going to end up being a sponge. Not only is he your dad on the court, but you're going to do the classic ears open, mouth closed, and you're going to absorb everything possible that you could do to learn from him. Hanging out with teammates, you're not hanging out with teammates at all unless if your dad allows you to. If he wants you to put in work, your teammates to put in work, that's the main reason why I think teams are going to end up wanting LeBron to join together because that's going to be your case scenario, your best case scenario at that, to figure that out. But Keith, what are your thoughts on that?
Me personally, I think Bron Jr. should go back to school. And the only reason why I say he should go back to school, this first year, really, you didn't really get to see the true Bronny James because of the heart stuff that was going on with him. And I think he would need a fresh start to start anew and everything. And I think another year of college would do him good. Do him wonderful, a whole lot of good. But also, since his father is who he is, he could make that jump.
And the thing is the reason why I say I don't see that jump happening is LeBron takes care of his body, don't get me wrong. But LeBron can't play forever. As much as every LeBron fanatic wants him to, as much as LeBron wants him to, eventually those injuries over time, the wear and tear on your body, your knees, your ACL, everything all together that wears you out. You only got so much energy. And he said way back when that he wanted to play with his son. I don't think Bryce is going to end up having the luxury that Bronny has.
No. And plus, also, it's up to Bronny. It's up to Bronny too, because just because LeBron might want to play with his son doesn't exactly mean Bronny might want to play with his dad.
Very true. Very true. Because he's always said he wanted to be his own individual.
Exactly.
So, but if that's also meaning that your dad's going to take you underneath your wing, I think obviously it's going to be a lot of bashing of heads. That's how family works. But you're going to take that opportunity because your dad wanted to play with you. And I feel like any child does not want to let down their father in the end, especially on a sports-wise. Sports-wise, they do not want to let you down.
But I get it, true,
that much
but
more to any team do. And your ticket sales are going to be
through the roof, which is true. But at the same time, these kids now think entirely different.
Yeah,
they think entirely different. When you get in them years, 18, 19, 20 years old, last thing they want to be is under their parents' coattails.
Mm-hmm.
They want to establish their own identity and stuff like that.
And going back to wrap this topic up, what are the odds? And you know they're slim to none. But what if LeBron James retired and became a coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Or a coach in general? In reality, he's going to be a GM, an owner, because he's that higher up.
I think, that's what I said. I think he'll be more like a GM owner type. I don't really see him coaching. You know what I'm saying?
But the amount of knowledge would be superior compared to any coach. I mean, you got Jason Kidd out there coaching. You have Steve Nash coaching. You have so many people coaching out there. You'd love to see it, but it ain't going to happen.
Right, because remember what Magic said when he tried coaching. He was like, man, it ain't no joke out there.
Yeah, and look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's an owner for the Hornets. He's a NASCAR owner. He does this, he does that. He can't coach. If you got the money, so be it.
Plus, the coaching is like a 18-hour a day job. So
and there's no shot. If you can manage your money, so be it.
Exactly.
And let that ownership and get that stake in there with Usher right now. Share it in Cleveland.
Right.
You know, you're gonna have that connection back. I promise you that's gonna be great. But last topic for closing time. We hit on Kevin Durant. Wanted to hit on this one more time before we end up finishing the show completely. Is any super team with Kevin Durant, is KD the problem? The only super team so far that's been successful, Golden State Warriors. Brooklyn Nets, they had James Harden, Kyrie Irving, nothing to show for it. The Suns, you had Kevin Durant, you had Devin Booker, you had a good core around him, you had Chris Paul at one point. They look like they were lost, and them getting swept in 4 games. I'm not saying Kevin Durant's the problem by any means.
I don't think he's the problem, but I think his lack of leadership could be a problem.
And the fact that even the Thunder were once considered a super team too. You ended up having Russ. You ended up having James Harden. A team that probably would love to get back together in some capacity one more time, but it's not going to click. It hasn't clicked. And
I think you got some people that just not leaders like that. See, when KD went to Golden State, you had Steph Curry and you had Draymond, and Draymond was like that linchpin that would cut your throat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And Kevin doesn't have that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So,
It's kind of a surprise that Kevin Durant is the player that he is. You end up having so much more expectations, and his career more than likely is coming to a close quicker and quicker than you end up wanting to face it. And the fact that he has 1 NBA ring, or maybe 2, my bad.
Got 2.
But all with the Warriors, that was a team. There's always talk with the Nets, what could have been. There's always talk this year with the Suns. And did you end up thinking that the Suns would have been swept in 4 to the Timberwolves? Absolutely not.
Nah. But I did see the Timberwolves beating the Suns. But I didn't see them sweep them. I ain't
Not
seen them
this,
sweep
not
them.
that quick. No, not this
not
way.
like that.
But as we wrap up today's show, Keith, thank you once again for trooping it out with me. You're the man, you're the myth, you're the legend. This is
Thank you.
Keith
Thank you
Allen.
for having me on. Yes.
Absolutely, anytime. And next week we'll end up having our show either Monday or Tuesday next week. Stay tuned on our X at We Like Sportz PC. Ed's back. He's going to end up listening to that break-in news. I don't know how well he's going to like it, but there's plenty of jokes in there. Like I said, with a name like Peyton Wilson and a name like Peyton, it's bound to be a success. That was my best. That was my favorite part. And I had a little bit of fun with everything today as well. The great debate, maybe we'll end up doing it next week, but we turned that into closing time. Nonetheless, though, Keith, before we go, what do you got going on this Thursday, and where can they find you on social media?
Oh, also follow me at follow me on Twitter.
Allen569
at Twitter. Also, you can follow me as Keith Allen on K the host on Instagram, and you can also follow me on All About Sports 216 on TikTok.
Yep,
follow me on there, and also you can follow me as Keith Allen on TikTok as well. Also, be sure to check out. I haven't been on in a week or so because Brother Man been sick. Be sure to check out All About Sports this Thursday at 6 p.m. where hopefully we're talking about the Cavs up 3-2 and heading into Game 6.
Hopefully.
We
could always be hopeful. The Cleveland term of the day, hopeful.
And we'll talk about the Guardians, they doing their thing and stuff like that. And we'll talk about some of the Browns draft picks, stuff like that.
And what time is that on Thursday?
6 o'clock, 6
Perfect.
p.m. Yep, 6 p.m. Might have a surprise. You might have a Steeler fan come on.
Is that Steeler fan me? Because I wasn't ready for it. Or is it one of your boys?
Could be you.
It could be me. It could be one of your boys. Who knows? Time will tell.
My son won't come on there with me.
Oh, come on. He's got to just have that Steelers company. That's all. We'll get him there.
He won't come on there with me. Yeah, it turned into a cursing match and everything.
So that's for your sake that he doesn't come on.
Right, exactly. Because he been and said some old flagrant shit. But I also want to give a couple of shout outs before I get off. First,
go for it.
I like to give my son a shout out. K Jr. He got his bachelor's degree in HR management and everything. Congrats to him. Also, I want to give a birthday shout out to my brother, my man, Linnell Thomas of the Triad Committee. Happy birthday to him. Double fives. We getting old.
55, you guys. Double five.
Yes, sir.
Fives.
Yes.
But
and other
catch
than
us
that,
next week.
Yes.
At WeLikeSportsPC.com. At WeLikeSportsPC on Twitter. Check out next week to end up seeing when the show is, whether it be Monday at 6 o'clock, Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Regardless, we will be there. You should be there too. We like sports, we like you, and we like us. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to subscribe on our YouTube, where we will end up giving, if we hit 500 subscribers, a Cleveland Guardians jersey away. So make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure to end up giving us a follow on Twitter. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, We Like Sportz Show. And we'll catch you next week. Take care, guys. And Keith, thank you once again. You're the man.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on and everything, Vince. Thank you for having me on.
How do we do this? E-D. Boom.
Oh,
right?
That's it.
Yeah.
I
gotta throw it up. Whatever it is. That's for Ed.
All right.